subjects that I think is overlooked a lot and not really taken very seriously is the timeline for your wedding. You have below a template for you to fill in your timeline, but some things that I want to share with you, ways that we have always developed our timeline. The very first thing that I always look at is the sunset. What time is sunset? It's very important because sunset photos are so beautiful and everybody wants to have sunset photos, or you should, but a lot of times that's not something that the bride and groom take into consideration. And something that I want you to think about is when you don't plan your timeline properly, you could be in the middle of dinner and the photographer comes over and says, "We gotta go, I gotta get sunset shots." Or you could be in the middle of your toast, in the middle of anything really, and we want to make sure that it's well planned out. Most photographers like to have about a half an hour for your sunset photos. So what I like to do is whatever time the sun is setting, plug that into your timeline first. You should be doing your whole timeline before you even plan out what time your ceremony will be and send out your invitations. This is something we need to do very early on. A lot of people think that you don't do your timeline until after you've picked the time for your ceremony. But you don't know what time you want your ceremony because you want to make sure you get those sunset photos. So when we put the sunset photos in, let me just give you an example. Let's say sunset is going to be 8 o'clock. If sunset is 8 o'clock, the photographer normally likes to have the sunset photos before actual sunset because they like it when the sun is setting. So you want your sunset photos to start at about 7:30. So if your sunset photos are starting at 7:30, you want to think about what else is happening in your day. So some other things to think about: what if the sun sets at 6 o'clock? You really don't want to be having your dinner or your grand entrance when you should be out taking your sunset photos. So whatever time sunset is on the day of your wedding, plan a half hour before that. And then you can see how you can plan your whole schedule around that. So if sunset is at 6 o'clock, you want to start your photos at 5:30. So how is that going to relate to the rest of your wedding? If that's at 5:30, maybe from 5 o'clock to 6 o'clock, you could have your cocktail hour. And during your cocktail hour, you're out taking sunset photos. So you want to make sure that you don't have any other events planned around your sunset photos. So again, if sunset is at 6 and you're going to start your sunset photos at 5:30, so your cocktail hour is from 5:30 to 6:30, then you're going to want to back up your ceremony from then. So depending if you need travel time between the ceremony site and the cocktail hour, you're going to want to put in your travel time. How long is your actual ceremony? And then your ceremony will begin from there. And do you need time after your ceremony for your family photos? We're going to go into some of that all in detail. You'll be able to read how much time each event should take on the sheet that we've provided for you below. But I wanted to make sure that you understood how important it is to plan your timeline before you choose any of your other times, like your ceremony time. Also, once you put your timeline together, this is going to help you narrow down some of the services that you have a little bit better. So you may have booked your photographer, but you really don't know how much time you need your photographer until you get your timeline down. You really don't know how much time you need for your DJ until you've narrowed down your timeline, and so on. You don't know what time you need your cake delivered until we've worked on your timeline. So follow the sheets that we've provided for you below, and also maybe check out some of our quick tips that might help with some more information. Happy wedding planning.